On a beautiful day in Atlanta, we welcome you to Sunday Braves. This afternoon here at Turner Field, the Braves wrap up their longest homestand of the season. We play our third, final, and rubber game of this set as we oppose the Houston Astros. Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South is brought to you by your Atlanta Hyundai dealers. Make every Sunday a Hyundai Sunday on Fox Sports South. And welcome to our broadcast booth, everybody, with Joe Simpson and Tom Glavine. I'm Chip Carey. It's been a terrific homestand so far for the Braves, but need to polish off the last place Astros before we hit the road later on tonight.
Yeah, an 8-2 homestand is going to be a whole lot better than 7-3 because, especially against the Astros, you don't want to lose a series to this last place ball club. But a good homestand overall, 7-2, and averaging close to 5 runs a game. The pitching's been brilliant, but the last 2 days the offense has sputtered a little bit. Only 2 runs last night, had a chance to get more. They've got to connect today when they get runners in scoring position.
And I would think that today, in order to go out there and win this series and put the final cap on a great homestand, the Braves have to feel good about their pitching matchup today. For the Braves, you got Chris Medlin going, making his second start in the season. First time out, very good, very economical over 5 innings in that game and getting the win. And for the Astros, Bud Norris, you see him 5-8 on the year, 0-1 against the Braves, and currently in the midst of a career-long 7-game losing streak. So you have to like that the pitching matchup from that aspect today.
The Braves so far have picked up a half game in the standings with their good homestand. Let's see if they can put a little pressure on the first-place Nationals with a victory over the Houston Astros today. It is indeed the series finale. It's a beautiful day for baseball, and we wrap up the homestand when we come right back to Turner Field. Astros and finish off this 10-game stretch at home with an 8-2 record. The Astros won last night, and here's how Brad Mills lines him up for the rubber game of the series. Got to keep Altuve off the base paths. He's been on 4 separate times, including 3 times via the base on balls. Justin Maxwell had a huge game last night with a couple of homers. Brian Bogasevic is in right field with Carlos Corporan behind the plate. And Bud Norris, riding a long 7-game losing streak, starts for the Astros.
And that man right there, Chris Medlin, will be assigned the task of trying to cap this homestand off in very good fashion. See his numbers over his last 11 games. Threw the ball really well out of the bullpen and pitched extremely well in his first start the other night back here against the Miami Marlins. Very economical.
Yeah, the only run he gave up was that home run in the first inning, and only walked one in that 5-inning stint as well. His 4 keys to pitching success today. Silver Hammer. That belongs to Maxwell if you're a Beatles fan. And last night it belonged to Justin Maxwell, who hit 2 homers. So keep him under control today. And some atom balls. He did strike out 3 against Miami, but because of his aggressiveness and because, as Tom said, on a hot day you want to be economical, you want to pound the strike zone, which is what he said he tried to do against the Marlins. That means you're probably going to have some balls hit, put in play. So have them hit at somebody and have some easy innings.
Here is that defense behind Chris Medlin this afternoon. Prado, Bourne, and Hayward left to right in the outfield. Standard infield alignment. And it's David Ross day game after the night game, which leads to the question, two fellas. Pitch count for Chris Medlin. Freddie wanted to keep him between 50 and 60 last time out. He threw 57 pitches. Any restraints in his second start?
I think he'll have some. I mean, I don't think they're ready for him to go out there and throw 100, but you know, I would say maybe more in the neighborhood of 70 today if it gets to that point.
So we'll see if James Hoy helps him along. He's the home plate umpire. And as we said, it's a warm day, but comfortable. 89 degrees, gentle breeze blowing, and the forecast calls for mostly sunny skies. Jose Altuve is the Houston second baseman, batting .299 for the year. And 1 for 5 so far in the series. There's one of those hammers. Might have been a yellow hammer, not silver.
He's got the yellow hammer. Justin had the silver one working last night.
And that's outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Braves start play this afternoon. 3 games behind Washington. The Nationals won in improbable fashion last night. See you later. Altuve's retired on a fastball right down Capitol Avenue.
I want to tell you something. This umpiring crew, the Mike and 3 Jimmies, will call strikes, all of them. And I like that. I like having this crew in town. I like seeing them wherever the Braves are playing because they do a great job and they let you know about strikes too.
And there's not a whole lot of complaining going on. I mean, guys know, hey, they're calling strikes and pitchers are aggressive, hitters are aggressive, and there's not a whole lot of complaining.
And the big name in this umpiring crew, of course, is Jim Joyce. And as the crew chief, it's not surprising, fellas, that the other 3 men along with him do an outstanding job. I agree with you. This has been a very well umpired series, and they're moving the game along, which is good for everybody. Outside to Marwin Gonzalez, the Houston shortstop. He's 1 for 8 in the set. In the air to left center field. Michael Bourne's going to track that down. 2 outs.
This series is tied at a game apiece despite the fact that the Astros do not have a hit with a runner in scoring position. They're 0 for 12. But the 2 home runs last night by Justin Maxwell were the difference makers. And the Braves are really not that hot either in this series. 3 for 17. And 2 of those RBI hits belong to Dan Uggla. So they got to get the bats going today.
In fact, Houston's won just 1 road series all year. That was June 8th, 9th, and 10th when they took care of the Chicago White Sox. Houston's won just 11 road games all year. Atlanta does not want to lose this series at home to Houston. 1 ball, 1 strike to Brett Wallace. 4 homers, 7 RBIs, but hitless here in Atlanta.
You're right about what you said a second ago, Tommy, about having more time to work on your pitches in the bullpen when you're starting, because he's already used all 3 of them quite a bit.
Yeah, he's already come out and established each one of them and thrown each of them for strikes. So that's what you try to do that first inning, is get out there and establish them all and figure out what's working.
Changeup always works for Medlin, and he retires Houston on 11 pitches and got 2 strikeouts in the top of a scoreless first. Afternoon, a beautiful day for baseball. And let's see if Michael Bourne can get going. Michael's in a bit of a rut at the top of the order. He'll be followed by Martin Prado. Hayward, Jones, and Freeman swinging hot bats. Stan Uggla's bat coming to life too, with David Ross, Paul Janisch, and Chris Medlin, the lower third of the Atlanta order.
They'll be facing Astros right-hander Bud Norris, 5-8 on the year overall, but you see his season's kind of gone in the wrong direction. Got off to a pretty good start in his first 9 starts, 5-1. His last 10, 0-7 with a 7. Now, to his defense, a couple of those games he's pitched pretty well, but they haven't scored him too many runs. But he certainly has been having a hard time trying to get on the winning side of the docket lately. So hopefully the Braves keep that going.
His 4 keys to pitching success today: hitters counts. He has a tendency when he gets behind in the count to just try to pound his fastball a little bit harder than the one before. And he does throw hard, and he has a lot of strikeouts. But from the Braves standpoint, hey, you got 7 in a row, make it 8 before you leave town, would you please?
And 8 is the magic number. 8 times in those last 10 starts, the Astros have scored 2 runs or less in support of Bud Norris. And fellas, back-to-back games where the Braves are seeing a Houston pitcher with a pretty good fastball. See if that helps Michael Bourne and the boys get back into the win column today.
You're just hoping that in the case of Bud Norris today that he knows in the back of his mind he's got a 7-game hitting or losing streak going, and he's trying to pitch to avoid that, not so much to go out there and try and pitch well or to win the game and pitch with confidence like Harold did last night.
No, everybody's different, but if you had a rut, did you find it hard to compartmentalize that when you go to the rubber?
Absolutely. You kind of try to break it down into short little segments, get off to a good start, but eventually in the back of your mind it was all about trying not to lose again.
Breaking ball got Michael Bourne. Good pitch. And the hitters are on notice. 1 down.
Well, Bud Norris is 5th in the National League in strikeouts per 9 innings at 9.14. So this is not uncommon for him to rack up a bunch of them.
Martin Prado, the batter, with the bases clear. Prado's average at an even 300. He's tallied 3 hits in the series and has knocked in a run.
Norris is 27 years old, 6 feet 230. And there's a pitcher the Astros used to have that he reminds me a lot of.
Foul pass third.
Remember Pete Harnish? Built about the same. He needs some baseball pants that are about 8 sizes too big for him, like Pete used to wear, but
line drive over short. Prado serves a single into left field.
Martine's had a good series, 4 for 8.
Well, Norris hasn't been able to harness Jason Hayward much. Jason's 3 for 5 with a home run against him in his career. Oh. 1 ball, no strikes. Runner goes, swing and a miss. The Corcoran throw to second. Short hops in. Martine's in safely with his 14th steal.
Got a little help from Jason, too, who swung over the pitch. Uh-oh. And now let's see what happened to Martine, who's still on the ground.
And that doesn't look good.
Doesn't look like he rolled his ankle into the base. That was his tuck leg.
Did he get
Hopefully
spiked?
it's simple as getting stepped on or something, hopefully, but
That tear in the sock, is that a spike?
Might be.
might be, yeah.
Yep, looked like the left foot got the left leg on the side of the base or behind the base on the slide.
That was a pretty good one there. Jim Lovell will have him fixed up in no time. Again, watch his tuck leg will go under the left foot of Gonzalez, whose heel is in the ground, but his toe is up, and that's what got him.
And then Martine saying to Gonzalez, get that foot out of the way.
You know, good look at it right there. Ow.
He'll stay in the game, and the count to Jason Hayward now a ball and a strike. First scoring position chance for the Braves today. Count even now, 2 balls, 2 strikes. up. And now a full count. Good at bat for Hayward. Advanced Prado and now walks, and 2 are on with 1 out for Chipper.
Bud Norris was 5-1 through May 21st. Pitching real well for Houston. But since then, in those 10 starts where he's lost 7 in a row, he's not had one game where he's had more than 3 runs of support. While he's had some quality starts, he hasn't had many runs to work with.
Chipper's knocked in a couple of runs in the series. He looks at a called strike.
There's been a couple times in this series that they've pitched around Jason a little bit with the open base to set up Chipper, and Chipper's made him pay.
Joe, your point about Norris is well taken. It's really easy to overlook how well the Astros started this season. Remember, they lost 100 games for the first time ever last season. This is their 50th year. On May 25th, they were 22-23 and only 3 games out of first in the Central. They're 14-49 since.
Wow. I guess it was adrenaline at the beginning of the year that carried him, and that adrenaline wore off, and then talent or lack thereof took over.
Corporon took a shot with a professional courtesy by James Hoy, and now Chipper hits behind the count, 1-2. Low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Let's not forget either. They traded away Carlos Lee. They've traded Wandy Rodriguez. They've traded Jay Happ, Brett Myers, and others.
Now that you think about it, that was only in the last 3 weeks. Even with those guys, they were struggling after the end of May.
Two balls, 2 strikes. And Chipper is down on a breaking ball. Nasty pitch. And 2 strikeouts for Norris in the opening inning.
Good slider there to his back foot.
That's the one we keep talking about on both sides of the plate. If you're going to go breaking ball into the hitter in those counts, you better have it finish out of the zone. It looks like a strike for a long time, and when the hitter commits, there's not much they can do with that. That was a really good pitch right there by Norris.
Strike 1 to Freeman. 31 2-out RBIs for Freddie, 65 RBIs in total. Prado and Hayward, the runners aboard in the Atlanta first.
When I was talking about his 4 keys on hitters counts, it would really pay for the Braves hitters today to try to be patient early in the count, because as it was described to me, Norris isn't a polished enough pitcher yet, even though he's in his 3rd year, to have confidence in his 2nd and 3rd pitches to pitch behind in the count with those with a changeup or slider. You're probably going to get a fastball.
That one shaved the outside edge.
He's gotten that call twice, once on Chipper and now once on Freddie.
Well, we mentioned very early in the game when Houston was up. James Hoy's calling strikes today. Ought not to be any surprises by now. 2-2. 2 on, no score. And Freeman's down on a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, but Norris, averaging over 9 strikeouts per 9 innings, has 3 in his first inning today. Lots of strikeouts in our opening inning. Chris Medlin had 2, Bud Norris had 3. And as we go to the second, it's the middle of the order for the Astros. Maxwell, Moore, and Pierce are coming up. And boy, did Justin Maxwell hit the Georgia Lottery jackpot last night, and frankly over the last 2 weeks.
4-10 over last 15 games. Drove in all the runs last night in their 3-2 win.
And he swings the first pitch and lines to Hayward in right. Maxwell was hitting early in the count all night last night too, and is the first out in today's second inning. Here's Scott Moore. Moore's the third baseman today. Moore started at third in game 1 of the series and went 0 for 3. That's it high in the air toward right, down the line. Hayward in the corner, slowing now, gets there and makes the play. Nice running catch for Jason, who covered a lot of ground. 2 outs.
The wind's kind of blowing in from right field. May have held this up just enough to let Jason run under it. Sounded like he hit it off the end of the bat a little bit.
Yeah, there was a changeup that he got off the end, and they were kind of playing him around the other way a little bit. So kind of hit it in a good spot, but like you say, I think the wind held it up and gave Jason a chance to get under it.
Our first look at Steve Pearce in this series. Remember, Pearce used to be with the Pirates. He was in the original lineup in game 1, but was taken down with a neck problem. but good to go in Game 3 today. The player Houston acquired off waivers, Baltimore let him go on July 28th. Ground ball up the middle. Giannis behind the bag. 360 spin and safe at first. Pierce aboard with 2 outs.
It's another one that wasn't hit that hard. It was just hit in the right place. Good play by Paul, but when you make that spin, it's awfully hard to make an accurate throw.
Mentioned Baltimore a second ago, fellas. They made a roster move. Former Brave Nate McLouth is back in the big leagues with the Orioles. They brought him up.
Well, I hope he plays well.
Here's Brian Bogusevic. That one gets by David Ross, and Pierce moves to second. That's a wild pitch. Bogusevic was a former #1 pick back in 2005. The Astros drafted him as a pitcher out of Tulane. But Brian didn't do much successful pitching. He was 14-21 with a 5.0 ERA in the minor leagues.
He's had a disappointing year. They thought he would be their right fielder for a long time, and it just hasn't worked out, largely because he strikes out too much.
Close play at second, and Pierce just back ahead of the tag by Giannis.
David's like, again, like turning a middle infielder, turning a double play. Quick release. Back to Bogusevic real quick. He has, over the course of the season, averaged a strikeout every 4 at bats, and the center fielder Jordan Schaefer is averaging a strikeout every 3 at bats. So those two guys who are supposed to be everyday outfielders just haven't put it in play enough.
Maybe he needs to start applying whatever he's doing as a pinch hitter.
Right.
Because he's done really well there. Start applying that to games that he's getting 3 and 4 at bats.
Here's a big guy, leads from second, scoreless game, 3-2 pitch. He is high, ball 4, some 2-out trouble from Medlin in the second inning. And this is Carlos Corporan. He's the man that caught Armando Galarraga in game 1 of the series. Corporan came to town with a 4-game hitting streak that ended with an 0-for-4 night on Friday.
Chris 7 for 8 on first pitch strikes.
Fly ball left center. And the wind's going to push that out toward Martin Prado, and he'll make the play to retire the side. Nothing doing for Houston in the second inning. They strand their first 2 runners in a scoreless game. Score. Dan Uglo will lead things off for the Braves. While Bud Norris continues his warm-up tosses, let's take a look at this afternoon's AT&T U-verse trivia question. Who holds the Astros franchise record for most career hits against the Braves? Mike Redmond didn't play for the Astros, did he?
No. I know it wasn't Brad Ausmus. Well, it could have been him, but he didn't get any off of me, so not my fault if he is.
A lot of choices there. They've had some great players. Biggio and Bagwell in recent memory.
Got another guy that hit for a high average all the time, too. Terry Poole. Remember him?
Yep. How about Jose Cruz?
Jose Cruz. Biggio had 3,000 hits. It's kind of hard to get off of him, right?
That guy had a remarkable career, too. Catcher, second base, catcher, center field. And then back to second base. I mean, think how hard that must have been for that Houston icon. As Dan Ugla goes to work for the Braves here in the second inning. Dan's bat's starting to come to life a little bit. As this one pops behind the plate, Bullpen will give chase and runs out of real estate. Dan's last 6 hits have driven home 8 runs.
How many game hitting streaks you got, Joe?
4. Every day in the month of August.
And he is strikeout victim number 4 for Bud Norris. 1 away in the Braves' second. EarthSense programs from Georgia Power can help you save money, use energy more efficiently, and help the environment. Rebates are available to help you make efficiency upgrades around your home. Go to georgiapower.com for more details. David Ross and Paul Janisch coming up next. First, it's the catcher David Ross at 273. That's well hit to right. Bogusevic going back at the wall. It's gone. 1-0 Atlanta.
Fastball hitter got a fastball down the middle and turned the wind around a little bit here.
Yeah, that might have been a little bit of a guy throwing 95. Let him supply the power. You get the barrel of the bat on the ball and see where it goes. And David drove that ball nicely to right field, and like you said, cut through the wind.
You know, fellas, we've talked about how well the Chipper Jones Juan Francisco third base situation has played out. How about Brian McCann and David Ross? The Braves catchers have combined for 24 homers and 68 RBIs this year.
Well, it's certainly great production, and you obviously know what Brian does on a daily basis, but we talk about it all the time. When David gets an opportunity to play, he makes the most of it and generally does something during the course of the game to help the Braves win.
Popped up right side. Brett Wallace in foul ground. Here's the railing of the dugout, and Gator earned it. Swing on the house for Janisch.
Well, the best part about it was that's the Braves dugout, and down there at the end of the dugout is Phil Falco telling him to hold up, hold up. So maybe that's what helped. Way to go, Phil.
Either that or Brett was blinded.
That too.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Every out by Norris is a strikeout.
Well, maybe that's what Wallace wanted to do. He wanted to keep the strikeout streak going.
Well, he's on a pace to strike out every hitter and lose 1-0.
That's okay.
So Chris Medlin has an early lead. He's 1 for 8 this year at the plate. Popped up. Shallow right. Bogusevic coming on, and with the glasses gleaming, puts it away, and that retires the side.
Every out, he struck out every guy except the pitcher.
Go figure. Because they're athletes, you know. I thought I'd say it before Tommy did. 1-0 going to the third. South is brought to you in part by the Georgia Lottery, by Jamison Inn, and by AT&T Uverse. Back at Turner Field, David Ross hit a 371-foot home run the other way to right field. That's the first run of the day, and the Braves enjoy an early lead. We hit the road after the ball game this afternoon and head to Philly. Here's our Jamison Inn upcoming schedule.
Well, as you said, Tom, anytime you go to Philadelphia and don't have to face Lee or Halladay, that's a good trip. But the Braves have got to do some damage against the other guys.
Yes, they do, and they got 3 guys going for them that have been throwing the ball pretty well. Ben Sheets, even though he's lost his last time out, has been throwing the ball well. Mike Minor had a little bit of a interrupted start his last time out, but he's been throwing the ball as well, and Huddy's been Huddy, so should be some good matchups.
But Norris, the Houston pitcher, leads things off. Won't see Carlos Ruiz in that series. He's got a major foot problem that will cost him 4 to 6 weeks. Plantar fasciitis tear was what was described in the papers there yesterday. And they may have some big news coming with Cliff Lee. Placed on waivers. The Dodgers put in a claim. Don't know if Lee will stay with the Phillies, be traded to the Dodgers, or perhaps just have his contract, which is a gigantic contract, handed to Los Angeles. Might have clarity on that by the end of the day today, certainly by tomorrow from Citizens Bank Park. Strike 3. Norris gets a taste of his own medicine. 3rd strikeout for Medlin. 1 away. The Braves have created a limited edition set of Chipper Jones commemorative prints. They'll be given away on 4 Fridays, August 17th and the 31st, September 14th and September 28th. They're presented by SunTrust, and each print reflects a different stage of Chipper's career. Call 800-745-3000 or visit braves.com/tickets. Altuve, a ground ball to short. Giannis hardly had to move. 2 outs. Marwin Gonzalez flat out to Michael Bourne in the first inning. Medlin got the Astros 1-2-3 in that frame, needed just 11 pitches. One ball, two strikes.
Right where David Ross asked for it. He wanted a breaking ball in the dirt, see if he'd chase, and that's where Chris delivered it.
Now they'll talk it over.
Yeah, they've been working at a blistering pace, so something went awry there in terms of what each guy thought.
One of them might have wanted to come back with that same pitch, and one of them might have wanted to try and elevate after that pitch. So talk it over, hear each other out, and ultimately Med's going to throw what he wants to throw.
Just rolled foul at the plate. And Gonzalez still alive. One ball, two strikes. He's out of Bolivar, Venezuela. Cubs signed this kid as a 16-year-old free agent in 2005. Boston took him in the Rule 5 draft last year. And then Houston traded for him. And here he is playing shortstop. 3 up, 3 down again for Chris Medlin. He's protecting a 1-0 lead at Turner Field. Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South is brought to you by your Atlanta Hyundai dealers. Make every Sunday a Hyundai Sunday on Fox Sports South. 3 creamsicles in the broadcast booth today. Joe, Tom, and Chip as we wrap up this homestand with Houston. Braves leading early, trying to polish off an 8-2 home mark.
It's a very witty sign they made. Yeah, you're talking, Michael. Even if you don't put it down, make the infielders think you will and draw them in a little bit.
That's right at the first base bag, and Wallace will take care of Michael Bourne for the first out. Hard to believe Michael's 1 for 21 now against Houston at the plate this year. Braves are excited to bring legendary Southern Rockers Leonard Skinner to the ballpark for a free post-game concert after the Saturday, September 1st game against the Phillies. Visit Braves.com/tickets. Call 800-745-3000. Martin singled, stole a base, and was spiked in the first inning.
A couple of good pitches there from Norris. It looked like a cutter to the inside part that made Martin flinch for a ball, and then threw him kind of a slower breaking ball like a slider that he waved at. And yet another. If it almost looks like if Norris gets ahead, he really pitches. If he gets behind, he becomes kind of a thrower.
Yeah. Sorry, he gets ahead and he's not afraid to throw his secondary pitches and miss. Versus when he gets behind, he doesn't have the confidence to throw those secondary pitches for strikes, so he kind of reverts back to his fastball.
But wouldn't you say, guys, the building blocks are there for Norris? I mean, more strikeouts than innings pitched, fewer hits than innings pitched coming into play today.
Yeah, there's no question he's got the stuff to be successful. You know, it's one of two things. You pitch ahead in the count more so you can use your other pitches, or one of those pitches you develop that you can throw behind in the count.
Now let's see what he does after he falls behind 3-2 if he goes back to the fastball.
It wasn't, and it was low. And Prado earns a one-out walk, the second free pass issued by Norris.
Yeah, that looked like a cutter. It even been a slider. Had a little more dip to it than just a slider. And he threw it hard, 87.
And that might be a pitch that, you know, it's close enough and Martin laid off it, but as he gets more experience and is able to establish that he can throw that pitch for strikes more, that's going to be a pitch that they're going to be more apt to swing at, because part of me wonders, well, did he take that pitch because he knew it was a ball, or did he take it because he was looking for a fastball?
Right.
You know.
Strike one to Jason Hayward. Martin ran in the first. Let's see if Freddie Gonzalez turns him loose here in the third. Braves lead on a David Ross solo homer that came an inning ago.
I wouldn't mind seeing him go in motion here a little bit. It seems the last couple of games, it just feels like the offense has kind of been stale, you know. Kind of one of those situations where maybe you start getting some guys moving, see if you can make some things happen.
Martin holds and Hayward takes high and tight.
I'm with you, Tommy. I mean, they had a little trouble with men in scoring position the last two nights. Only got 2 runs last night. Got the big hit from Chipper early in game 1 of this series. It kind of helped pave the way for Hudson, but putting a little pressure on the defense would be a nice thing.
The Braves so far in the series are 3 for 19 with a runner in scoring position, and are 0 for 2 so far today.
Hitters count.
Three and 2.
Braves are a little late on his fastball. Either they're not picking it up here in this day game just yet, or it's a little better than they expected from him.
Seems to be a little bit sneaky. Got a little bit of movement on it.
The 3-2 pitch. Prado runs. We'll do it again. Again, Prado takes off, and again, Jason, a foul ball.
Good job by Jason there. That was that borderline pitch that Hoy has given them, both pitchers, a couple of times today. Fastball's running away, so he didn't take a chance on taking it.
Yep, like we've been talking about with him as of late, he's doing a good job of spoiling those pitchers' pitches, keep himself alive, and keep forcing that pitcher to keep making that pitcher's pitch. And the more you make him do that, the chances are going higher and higher that he's going to make a mistake.
I'm going to say that's a cutter. You know, he's throwing it too hard. We've seen kind of the sweeping slider that he's thrown to Martin, that Martin got a hit on the first time up, that he chased it this time up this inning. But this one just got a little bit of a movement to it, like a cutter, but at 87, which is a little harder than his slider.
Yeah, it's definitely smaller than the one he threw to Martin for strike 2 that was more of a sweeping breaking ball, slurvy kind of thing.
Again, the payoff pitch. And look at Martin. He's got a sore leg.
Yeah.
It's 90-something degrees, and as he got to second base, his head went up. Oh. But a good at bat for Hayward, who's been racking up high pitch count at bats for the last month plus. Strike 3, throw to second is in time. Strike him out, throw him out, double play, retires Atlanta in inning number 3. Norris has 6 punch outs, but he trails 1-0. Strike him out, throw him out, double play at second base a moment ago.
It was the strike him out that I was concerned about. That looked wide of the plate, and Jason very upset about the call.
Yeah,
which wouldn't have mattered at second base.
Right. Looked like a backdoor breaking ball that didn't quite finish on that corner, I don't think, but been calling strikes back there.
Yep.
So Chris Medlin back to work with the 3-4-5 hitters for Houston. We're in the 4th inning. Chris has thrown 38 pitches through the first 3 today. More economical work for him. Remember, in his last outing, 57 pitches through 5 innings.
Boy, after that call on Jason Hayward, you got to wonder, where were those 2 pitches?
Yeah.
Swing and a miss by Wallace. And a line drive over short. A leadoff single.
First leadoff man to reach for Houston today.
A lot has been made about Wallace, where he'll play. Probably be their first baseman next year. Thinking all the way back to March 16th in Orlando. Braves played the Astros in a spring training game, and Wallace played third base that day. Also, as we were talking, played some shortstop while at AAA. This is the last time, of course, we'll see Houston as a National League club. They move to the American League next year. So perhaps several options for playing time for Wallace next season.
I don't think shortstop's going to be one of them.
That's probably not one of them.
I wouldn't think so.
Right.
Yes, he did. That home run Maxwell hit last night, the second one, it's about as long a homer as we've seen to straightaway left field this year. Getting up above the walkway. And as Chipper said, if it's above the walkway, that's Mamo.
One ball, 2 strikes. There's our Twitter address. Do not send Tom the answers. I'd like to have a peaceful rest of the game with the truck. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Double play ball. And Ugla the turn. Medlin gets the ground ball at an opportune time. 2 outs.
Chris can do a lot of things with his fastball that's nice, and for his age, I think a little bit beyond his experience, but he's able to command with his 2-seamer to do a lot of things.
Yeah, he's not afraid. He's not afraid to try and make his pitches look a little bit different from time to time. And you're right, with his got that hard 4-seamer, that little sinker right there. You can't draw up a ground ball double play any better than that one.
Look at him go right after Scott Moore. Again, Medlin in attack mode. Strike 3 over the outside corner. Medlin's through 4 innings with a 1-0 lead. He's allowed just 2 Houston hits. David Ross a homer, the only run that's scored so far on the afternoon. Braves hit the road to Philadelphia and New York. Back home for the San Diego Padres starting Monday, August 13th. Don't miss the Chipper Jones bobblehead giveaway. That's Thursday. Presented by Coca-Cola. Visit Braves.com/tickets. Call 800-745-3000 for tickets. First pitch swing and back to the mound. One away in the fourth. Fellas, the Padres the last team we've seen this year.
Be here for 4.
San Diego 45-64, 14 games back in the National League West, but some good young players that they've picked up. Remember in the Matt Latos deal, they got some of the Reds' top prospects. Padres building for the future at Petco Park.
I know they got their #1 catcher, and of course they got Edinson Volquez too, and he can always fire up a good start against you if you see him.
Norris couldn't get that one, didn't get the glove down in time as Freddie Freeman has his first hit of the series. And he'll be at first for Dan Uggla.
Here's something that might surprise you. Chan pulled this up, that the Braves have 3 of the top 25 in baseball in number of pitches seen per plate appearance. It won't surprise you that Michael Bourne is in the top 25 at 25 because he's a leadoff guy and works the count. Jason Hayward is 19th at 4.09 pitches. He's been very patient this year. Number 9, Dan Uggla. 4.22. The most, Adam Dunn, 4.47 pitches per plate appearance.
Even though Dan's not getting hits like he would like, as Tom mentioned, he's been taking his walks. Dan starts play today, tied for first in the National League in bases on balls, 66 of them, which matches Joey Votto, who's injured for the Reds. So, you know, 66 times he's seen at least 4.
Yep.
I think you just get kind of lulled into the perception sometimes that when he's not going well, he's making outs, it seems, very quickly in the at bat. You forget to factor in at times, like you say, he's done a very good job of taking his walks, and when he is going well, he does get a little bit deeper into the count. So just try to get to a point where you're seeing that, I guess, on a more consistent basis.
So for those who look at on-base percentage as the most telling stat for an offensive player, this might surprise you. Dan Uggla has a higher on-base percentage than Michael Bourne coming into play today. Michael has 129 hits. Uggla has 76. Dan's walked 66 times. Bourne has walked 40 times.
Well, the downside to that in Dan's mind is he'll tell you he's not here to walk. He wants to hit home runs.
That's what I'd like to see more of. We talked about Dan a lot, 3 of us, before the game, and his swing and things he's working on, but I'd like to see him hit 4 hard ground balls to the left side one night, just to stay on top of the baseball and not uppercut quite so much. Stay away from the pop-ups.
He strikes out for the second time in the game. That's 7 for Norris. Freeman at first with 2 outs.
It's a fastball.
Fastball or a cutter? I don't know. I mean, he's seems like he's throwing a couple different varieties of that breaking ball. One, like we said, looks more like a cutter. One's a little bit more of a slider. I don't know if that was just a fastball that maybe he cut a little bit, or
Ross another shot the other way. This one though will stay in the ballpark. Bogusevic will handle, and that retires the Braves in the fourth. Fifth inning at Turner Field. 1-0 Braves. To you in part by Georgia Power, by Sherwin-Williams, by Toyota, and by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Chris Medlin's pitched very crisply today. He's allowed only 2 hits. He struck out 4 men. And he's been given a 1-0 lead by his battery mate David Ross, who hit a 371-foot homer to right field with 1 out in the second inning. The 6, 7, 8 hitters coming up for Houston. Steve Pearce will get it started. He legged out an infield hit in the Astros second. As I mentioned it earlier, last time we'll see the Astros as a National League club. I'm going to miss seeing these guys. I'm going to miss going to that ballpark too.
Me too. I was asking with their traveling party what the consensus was in the city of Houston with respect to changing leagues and if it had any polls. And the answer was pretty much that the older people the old fans want to stay in the National League, would have preferred to stay in the National League, and the younger fans didn't have an opinion either way, but don't mind going to the American League.
Great things about our jobs is not only going to great cities and seeing the ballparks, but the people. And I think we'd all agree we won't get a chance to hang out with Jim DeShays and Bill Brown, our colleagues over on the Astros television side of things, at least for a couple of years, until we face Houston in interleague play.
Yeah, always treated nicely at their ballpark, and always good to visit with those two fellas.
And Medlin loses Pearce to start the 5th inning. His second walk. And here's Bogusevic. He's the man that earned the first base on balls from Chris today.
Only got an atom ball from Maxwell in the 4th inning. He needs another one here. Scouting report on Bogusevic is that if he's not striking out, he's hitting a lot of ground balls to second. Let's hope that turns out to be the case.
could be a situation as well, like we talked with the Braves, with Houston and their offense trying to get something or anything going. A little hit and run, maybe get him going, move some guys around.
Chris missing up, and David Ross will calm him down, we hope.
Yeah, it was 3 straight up there.
Washington's winning their game with Miami today. Steven Strasburg's pitching at Nationals Park. It's a 4-0 score. And there's subplot of that game. Jose Reyes still has his hitting streak alive. It's at 24 games. Braves are 3 behind the Nats in the East.
That's 5 in a row up there. Might be time to call something else.
Allen found the mark. 3-1. That's foul past first. Pierce was running with the pitch, and we'll do it again. 3-2. Bogusevich is hitting to 3 double plays. He strikes out here, and Ross with a laser, and the Braves have a strike him out, throw him out, double play.
Tagged him twice just to be sure.
Yeah, nice comeback by Medlin, falling behind 3-0 and coming back to get the strikeout and throw at second. Like you said, wasn't close.
So Corcoran bats with the bases empty and 2 out. And that must go a little low.
If Chris is on a tight pitch count, even one that's a little more than his last start, that double play will help immensely as he tries to get through the 5th inning here. He's at 64 pitches.
There's a rocket hit to right field. Jason will play that on a hop. Good job to cut the ball off before it got to the track, and Corcoran has a 2-out single. And at the very least, that allows Houston to clear the pitcher. And that pitcher is Bud Norris, who took a called 3rd strike in the 3rd inning. And that's bunted foul at the plate. Braves will become big Astros fans after the game today. The Houstons go home for a 4-game series with the Nationals that starts tomorrow night. So while we're playing the Phillies, Washington's on the road at Minute Maid Park. Nothing in 2 to Norris.
For the Astros, Kuchel, Lyles, Galarraga, and Harrell. Against Edwin Jackson, Ross Detweiler, Gio Gonzalez, and Jordan Zimmerman. Wow, what a catch. Nice play, sir. Hard hit and barehanded it. He's got to be a nominee for Toyota Play of the Game so far.
No question. I don't have Dad's seating chart, so I'm not sure if he was from Alpharetta or Tolliver.
When we come back for the Padres series, I might want to locate that.
I'm thinking that's the Alpharetta section over there. 0-2 pitch. But Norris is caught looking for the second time in the game. Chris Medlin has struck out 6 through 5 innings. Giannis, Medlin, and Michael Bourne are coming up. And let's revisit our AT&T Uverse trivia question. Who holds the Astros franchise record for most career hits against the Braves?
Sticking with number 7, Biggio.
Yeah, that seems too obvious. I'm going to go to another second baseman and go Billy Doran.
I'm going to go back to the Braves' old days in the National League West and say Jose Cruz.
Yeah,
I said that name when we first started.
You are on it, too.
Had him on my list.
He had 213 hits. Cesar Cedeno second with 189. Then Biggio. And then Bob the Bull Watson. Bill Doran was 5th.
See, I should have gone with my gut. I had Cruz and Cedeno at the top of my list.
Way to go, Chip.
Well, miracles happen once in a while, fellas. Folks may not realize this. Jose Cruz was with the Astros from 1975 to 1987. You know where he started his big league career? He was a Cardinal.
Don't say the Cardinals because they had all 3 Cruz brothers.
And Cruz once held the franchise record for games, at bats, hits, total bases, and triples before retiring after the 1988 season. Now a special assistant to the general manager with the Houston club.
He was their first base coach for several years too.
Paul Janisch, the batter, and he grounds to short. Gonzalez glides to his left, and Paul is the first out.
Number 10 on that list, most hits by the Astros against the Braves, Doug Rader, the Rooster.
Really?
Yeah. 125 hits. A .250 career average and 17 homers against the Braves.
While we probably don't miss the travel and maybe all those West Coast trips, I sure miss the days where you'd see a team more than twice a year.
I agree.
Yeah, I would like to see a balanced schedule again.
And it's going to be real interesting to see how the schedule manifests itself next season with interleague play every day. The Astros going to the American League, 15 teams in each league.
I'll tell you some teams that would really like to see a balanced schedule are the teams in the American League East.
Take away all those head-to-head matchups. Yankees, Red Sox. Oh, yeah. That's low to Medlin. 3 balls and a strike.
He's given a high strike. He's given that, even that one up and away to lefties. He's called that a lot, but he's not calling the low one. It doesn't appear.
And he walked the pitcher.
Yeah, he knows Medlin's a good hitter. Try to be careful with him.
Wonder if he knows he can run, steal a base. He's an athlete.
He is an athlete.
Must be a good time for Michael to heat up. Michael's in the midst of a 5-for-36 homestand. Remember, he had a rough stretch at the end of May. At one point, Michael had a run of like 7 hits and 46 at bats, and then got real hot in June. Let's hope that that's in the offing for the Braves leadoff man. And he takes the ball low. And if anybody knows how to pitch Michael, it ought to be the team that he played for. So that might be factored in as well. One ball, one strike. Now it's Norris's turn to have some control trouble. He walked Medlin with 1 out. Now falls behind Michael Bourne. 3 balls and a strike.
Well, he's pitched a good ball game. Hot and humid. There is a little breeze that's helping everybody today. He's at 74 pitches. Medlin ended the 5th with 70.
Full count. But Norris has lost 7 straight decisions. Another game where the Astros offense has given him nothing to work with. He's given up a David Ross homer, and that's all. And just 3 hits in total.
The 3-2 pitch with Prado running a couple innings ago. He threw that cutter to Hayward up and away.
Bourne slashes this one toward left. And Pierce is there to make the play near the line. 2 outs. Martine's been on twice today. He has singled, stolen a base. He's walked and was thrown out trying to steal.
Braves have only had 1 runner in scoring position, unless you count David Ross's home run. And the Astros have only had 1.
In here to right, Bogusevic puts that away, and that retires the side. 5 complete in Atlanta. 1-0 Braves lead in the rubber game of the series. And Bud Norris pitching a very good ball game on this sunny Sunday. And it is Twitter time. Shannon Lawler asks you, Tom Glavine, how does humidity affect pitches?
It's a good question. I don't know that it affects the pitch per se. You know, I think generally speaking, in humidity, the ball flies a little bit better. So as a pitcher, you worry about that. I think it's more on humid days. Everybody reacts differently. You know, I know on humid days I didn't personally mind it because you had a little bit of sweat, a little bit moisture on your hand. I felt like it was a little bit easier to hold on to the ball on days like that. Now some guys are a little bit different. For instance, I was talking to Huddy yesterday, and we were talking about it was a little humid the other night when he pitched, and he feels like on a humid night those are the nights that he has a hard time holding on to the ball. So I think it's more of that. It depends on which side of the fence you fall on, but it's more of a grip issue as to whether or not you feel like the sweat helps you hold on to the ball or makes you struggle holding on to the ball a little bit more.
How about a stamina issue?
Oh, definitely harder in humidity. I mean, it's like anything. It just kind of saps you and takes your strength away. That's why we continue to talk about being economical on hot days.
And Chris Medlin certainly has been that. As he begins his 6th inning, that was only his 71st pitch. It's a big inning for him. He's got the top of the Astros order up, and he leads by only 1 run.
I played with a couple of guys who loved humidity. Gaylord Perry and Dave Heverlow. The hotter and the more he could sweat, the easier it was for Gaylord to find a grip.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Did you ever toy with that or just see?
Yeah, I did, but I could never make it do anything. I didn't know how to do it. Now a scuff, that's a different story. But
Ground ball right side. Freeman handcuffed for a moment. Medlin got to the bag. Good play. 1 out. That must drive you crazy when you see a young pitcher throw a scuffed ball back.
oh, it does. We talked about, I think, that earlier this year. I mean, you see it all the time now. Very rarely do you even, if the ball's ever put in play anymore, it's thrown out. You know, and whether it's the umpires throwing it out or the pitchers look at it, throw it away. I used to get on Javi all the time. You know, I'd throw a ball in the dirt and right away he'd pick it up and hold it up for the umpire. And I'm like, Javi, don't be giving that thing back. If they're not asking for it, throw it back here. There might be something on there I can use.
You could probably make that ball sing the national anthem.
Boy.
Good.
The only time I didn't like it is if it was in the wrong spot and it wasn't going to be, I knew I couldn't for sure make the ball tail away from a hitter. Then I was a little bit leery of using it because then wasn't so sure where it was going. But
then it might tail into the hitter.
Exactly.
Well, Don Sutton was accused his entire career of using scuffed baseballs, and it was at one time thought that his catchers, including Steve Yeager, might have had some sharpened shin guard clips where they would rub the baseball across those as he would throw them back.
Same thing with Mike Scott. Or from the beginning of my career, same thing. We used to collect ball after ball after ball when he would pitch, and you'd see stuff on there, but you could never figure out where it was coming from.
1-2 to Marwin Gonzalez. And that's into left field for a 1-out hit. Activity has begun now in the Braves bullpen. And an encouraging sign that Johnny Venters is up and throwing.
Yeah, that was a Venters spot last night when Avilan came in the 7th inning, or excuse me, the 8th inning, to get an out. That's usually a Venters place.
But some concern about a sore elbow for Johnny Venters, who threw a bullpen yesterday and said he's good to go today. So Roger McDowell on the mound meets with Chris Medlin, gives him a breather with Brett Wallace in the batter's box. Don't forget to get your Chipper Jones 4-game plan today. They include a ticket to 4 Friday games, including Chipper Jones night September 28th and those 4 Chipper Jones commemorative prints presented by SunTrust. The Chipper Jones 4-game plan packages begin at $71, so visit Braves.com/Chipper.
Houston has really cut into the Braves offense as good as it was going. They only had 6 hits in game 1 and 4 hits last night, 3 hits today. So as we were talking at the beginning of the broadcast about how the offense needed to pick it up a little bit, not happening so far.
Wallace guides one past Dan Uggla into right field, and Houston plays it station to station. And they're at first and second with 1 out. And Maxwell is the scheduled Houston hitter.
These weren't too bad pitches. I mean, Gonzalez just flared one to left, and that was a seeing eye hit that really kind of looked like got in on Wallace a little bit.
Yeah, you got your ground ball. You just didn't get it at the guy.
So that's the last pitch of the day thrown by Chris Medlin. He has thrown 5 1/3 innings of shutout baseball. But he'll depart with Houston runners at first and second, and Justin Maxwell in the batter's box in a 1-0 game. Throws today over 5 innings and a third, and he leaves with a couple of runners on and 1 out in the top of the 6th inning. So it's Corey Guerin answering the AT&T call to the bullpen. Braves got Maxwell to double up in the 4th. Let's see if Corey can do the same here in the 6th.
He's getting a lot of work, fellas. This is 2 days in a row and 5 days out of the last 6.
Two-thirds of an inning with a hit last night. Pitched an inning against the Marlins on August 2nd. And then 2 innings on August 1st. With 3 strikeouts. Maxwell was 4 for 4 last night. He's 0 for 2 today and has made 3 outs in those 2 at-bats. Lined into left center field, and that's going to go to the wall. Gonzalez scores. Wallace will be stopped at third, and a line drive by Maxwell ties the game 1-1.
Be interested to see what this pitch was, because the home run he hit last night, remember, was on a slow curveball. I think a changeup on the first one. That looked like a breaking ball. That was a hanger.
Threw him a first pitch strike with that breaking ball. Tried to go back to it, and oftentimes happens. You try to throw the second one better than the first one, and you throw a hanger.
Just frisbeed up there.
Maxwell has 6 RBIs against the Braves this year, and the game is tied 1-1. Tied 1-1. The decision may rest upon the performance of Johnny Vetters, the man that answers another AT&T call to the bullpen. We mentioned some elbow discomfort had been bothering Johnny Vetters over the last week, but he says he's ready to go. Let's hope he's got A stuff here in the 6th.
His last work was July 29th. So a little over a week ago, and that was against the Phillies.
Braves have the infield in for Matt Downs, who bats for Moore. That pitch at 95 miles an hour, 0-2. Downs has been swinging a hot bat. 12 hits in the last 15 games with 4 RBIs. Batting average up 42 points in that stretch, but not this time. Venter strikes him out. Boy, that first batter faced a hugely important stat for a relief man.
This is an old Johnny Venter slider here. Late breaking and diving down to that back foot.
I think that's as good a 3-pitch sequence as we've seen out of Johnny in a while, and
I agree.
That's what he's got to get back to. And part of the problem for him has been, as we're going to intentionally walk Pierce here to load the bases, but part of the problem with him is it's not his stuff per se. His stuff has been there. It's just that I think second year around the league now, people are making him throw strikes more, and he's been inconsistent in being able to do that, and that's, it's a double-edged sword. If you're getting behind in the count and you're having to groove a pitch, I don't care what kind of stuff you have, if you can let a hitter zone you up like that, your chances of success are going to be greatly diminished. And right there, he took advantage of the hitter's anxiousness with runners in scoring position, threw him a slider that finished out of the zone, and then just went to work from there.
So the bases will be loaded for Houston. Brian Bogusevic was the scheduled hitter.
J.D. Martinez, I think, out of the dugout.
That is who will bat. Martinez 2 for 8 with an RBI in the series.
No one loosening up in the Atlanta pen.
Martinez, the Astros team leader in RBIs. He has 54 of them. First pitch, ground ball short. Giannis flips to second, and Venters pitches out of a big mess.
Great job.
The Astros tie the game on a Maxwell double. 1-1, bottom of the 6th. We wrap up the homestand today and get set for the Phillies. Our Chevron starting pitching matchups for tomorrow night's game at Citizens Bank Park.
Ben Sheets will be looking to get back on the winning track tomorrow night, and Vance Worley will be going for the Phillies. He's 6-6 on the year, so hopefully the Braves finish this one off, and Ben can get him off to a good start on the road trip.
And the Bats got to get going. They've been fighting it this series with Houston. As you see, Matt Downs remains in the game to play third base. JD Martinez stays in the game to play left. Steve Pearce now moves from left field to right field. And here's the trio you want up there: Hayward, Jones, and Freddie Freeman in a 1-1 6th inning game. And a strike to Jason Hayward. So Chris Medlin's start, 5 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. Norris continues on with 7 strikeouts so far today. His season high is 12.
It's calmed down a little bit, though. He had 5 through the first 2 innings.
Wallace at first. 1 out in the Atlanta 6th. Here's Chipper. Chipper made his season debut against the Astros in the 5th game of the year. It's the last time he'll face them in the major leagues. Let's see if he can do something special today. Base hit up the middle. Chipper's 3rd hit of the series. And he's hit safely in 29 of the last 33 Braves games he's played. Douglas, our Delta Airlines on deck batter. Base hit, Freeman to right field. Chipper will turn at second and stop there. Back-to-back hits.
Chipper had thoughts of going to third base. He took a little peek over his shoulder as he was getting to second, and that was a good idea because even though Steve Pearce moved from left to right and he's more comfortable playing first base, he doesn't have a bad arm at all, and he got to that ball quickly. And they would have had a real good shot at him at third base.
So a 2-hit day for Freddie Freeman, his 29th multi-hit game of the season. Sets it up for Dan Uggla once again. Dan with 2 on, 1 out has been retired twice on swinging strikeouts by Bud Norris today.
No one in their bullpen. Showed you those numbers for Uggla against Norris, so it looks like Dan's winning the war, but he's losing the battle today. He's fanned twice.
Strike one.
Dan's the one guy that Norris seems to have been consistently able to hit with that secondary pitch throughout the at bats.
And now Dan's in a deep 2-strike hole.
Last August, Dan hit .340, 10 homers, 21 RBIs.
Be a good spot to keep that 5-game August hitting streak going.
Laid off that pitch.
Sorry, I should say 4-game. Make it a 5-game hitting streak.
Yeah.
Two straight breaking balls after Norris jumped ahead 0-2.
I think you can count on that cutter mini slider that he's been throwing. Dan can't afford to look for it. He's got to sit on the fastball and adjust.
Popped him up. Gonzalez at short, infield fly rule in effect. 2 outs. So let's see what David Ross can do. He's our SunTrust solid performance today.
Great numbers when he starts in place of Brian McCann. Excellent average and a lot of pop to go with it. There's that note you were talking about, Chip. Most homers combined by any catching core in baseball.
He took him deep on a fastball his first at bat and was mad at himself the second at bat for flying out to right field. He felt like he let a pitch get away. So see if he's looking for that fastball again and trying to ambush him.
Outside, 1 ball, no strikes.
He's a good fastball hitter, as we know, but he's also a good high fastball hitter. So there's no reason for him to even offer it anything middle away this early in the count. And it's so much easier to lay off that pitch if you've already got a plan that I'm going to sit on something middle in, and anything that starts coming up there middle and goes away, then it's not even a check swing. You just, as a player would say, you just spit on it. Good idea. Pressure's all on Norris here. He's got to make a good pitch, 2-0. Let him fret about it another few seconds.
Roller deep short. Gonzalez flips to second. That's going to be late, and everybody's safe. Only play he had, I guess.
I think he thought it was the only play he had because he didn't have his feet under him, Chip. Even with David Ross running, I don't know that he could have put enough on a throw. And we've watched him throw on double play balls in this series where he's kind of submarined some throws, lollipopped him to first base. So I don't know how good his arm really is having to throw from the hole. It's a break for Atlanta, and good hustle by Freeman.
I didn't think he had a chance at second base. I was more thinking he was going to go to third.
Might have.
So an infield hit for Ross loads him up for Giannis.
Be patient. Ball's had a good homestand, 6 for 28 coming into play today. And he's hit some balls on the nose, so be patient. Try to get a pitch up. And then don't try to do too much with it. Just put a good swing on it.
That one gets away. Chipper's going to try to score, and he will, standing up. 2-1 Atlanta. Wild pitch.
That's about as far from the target as it could get.
Yeah, and that's putting a little heat on yourself to try and make just a great pitch in that situation, and you try and overpower it and miss your spot by about 4 feet.
And another nice thing was that ball didn't come shooting back to Corporon. It hit and bounced straight up in the air up along the screen.
So Freeman's at third, Ross is at second, and a 2-0 count for Paul.
Good cut. It's kind of odd to think of it this way, but the pressure really just went off Paul Janisch. Got the run, you got the go-ahead run in. Anything now is gravy, so relax.
He punted, and that ricocheted off the catcher.
Not a bad idea, but I think it kind of caught Freddie Freeman by surprise too, and I don't know that Freddie had a very big lead there. If he had dropped it down, Downs may have had a play at the plate.
Hinsky's on deck. Braves have 3 singles in the inning. It started with a Chipper Jones 1-out single up the middle, and he has scored the go-ahead Braves run.
I'd like to see Eric get up there. It's his birthday today.
Hot shot, base hit. Freeman scores. Ross around third. He'll score, and Janisch makes it a 4-1 game.
Good at bat and a big hit. Paul Janisch has been making all the plays at shortstop, but there comes a time where when you're contributing in such a way that you're helping the team defensively, you want to do something to get a run across or maybe score a big run, and he does that right here. That's a big hit.
It appears that's the last pitch of the day thrown by Bud Norris. Maybe not. Brad Mills hasn't taken the ball. It's not going to be the last pitch. He's right at 100 pitches for the ball game, but 3 runs on 4 6th-inning hits.
Well, he gave Harrell an opportunity last night to stay in the game and try and get his way out of a jam. He's going to give Norris an opportunity here to try and finish this inning and get them into the 7th inning. I mean, these are all moments that when you're a team that's not going to win, try to take advantage of these opportunities, help your kids grow up a little bit.
A shift for the birthday boy who had a healthy cut.
Eric is 35 today.
Strike two. You know, usually we have the rookie broadcaster or the youngest member of the crew sing happy birthday to a guy when he's.
That's a lie. All the years I used to listen downstairs in the dugout, or in the clubhouse, I never heard anybody sing happy birthday. I'm not falling for that.
That was worth a try. Pitch to Eric is back off the screen. 0-2.
And you wonder, you know, we talked a little bit about the psyche of Norris in this game, coming in on a 7-game losing streak, and you know, you wonder at what point in time does that start to play on him a little bit. You know, you see the wild pitch that he hasn't really done all day long, and this is a very similar game to what he had last game. He had a shutout going into the 7th inning against Milwaukee, and then gave up 3 runs in that game and ended up losing. So I wonder if that starts to play a little bit on his mind.
Hot smash handled by Wallace at first, and that ends the Braves' 6th inning. 3 runs, 4 hits. They've chased Bud Norris, who is now on the short end of a 4-1 decision. He's lost his last 7 in a row. Bottom part of the order coming up for Houston as we move to the 7th inning. Hit breaks the game open for the Braves. 4-1 now as we move to the 7th inning. The Braves, as you know, are very excited to host the Delta Civil Rights game again in 2012. We hope you'll join us as the Braves play the Dodgers, and we honor the role Major League Baseball has played in the civil rights movement. Visit Braves.com/civil rights for details, or call 800-745-3000 and get your tickets today. Third man out of the Braves bullpen answers the AT&T call today. It's Chad Durbin, and he'll have the 8, 9, and 1 spots coming up for Houston.
He's been busy on the homestand, and similar numbers to Guerin. He worked last night, an inning, gave up a couple of hits, but no runs. And he has worked 5 of the last 6 days.
Carlos Corporan, then the pitcher spot, and then Altuve for the Astros. Corporan had a 5th inning hit. Pops up the first pitch. Long run chipper, long run Prado. Giannis joins the chase, but Martinez got it, 1 out. And Jordan Schaefer's grabbed a bat. He'll hit for Norris. Schaefer started game 1, went 1 for 4. Pitch hit in the 8th inning last night, flied out. He swings the first pitch, and that's hit to left field. 2 pitches, 2 outs. Chad will take that with as much work as he's turned in lately. Back to the top of the order.
Any pitcher, anytime. Quick innings. Thank you very much.
Altuve swings the first and fouls it away. Strike 1. Xavier Cedeno's loosening in the Houston bullpen. He'll be the next man on the mound. Line drive into center field by Altuve. That guy's a good little player.
And he's going to get better. And you know why? He's from America.
That's his 120th hit this season. The Houston team has 881 hits. He's got 120 by himself.
How many hits do the Braves have?
.925 plus their 7 today, so 932. The Braves have outscored Houston by 80-something runs. 2-0 count to Gonzalez. Altuve's running. The pitch, strike. No chance for Ross.
David, that ball kind of came out of his hand, and then he went into a juggling act that was pretty funny. Kind of came out of his hand, went right into his glove, and then popped out again. I don't think even David Ross had a chance there.
No, he had no chance.
That's 20 steals for Altuve. And now 3-1. Getting down to the dangerous part of this lineup in a 4-1 game. Don't want to walk people. That's exactly what Chad did. A single and a walk with 2 outs brings the potential tying run to the plate. And Freddie Gonzalez will go get him. Braves are racking up some relief appearances on this homestand. Durbin retires the first 2, gives up a single, a stolen base, and a walk. Braves have the lead as we continue on in the top of the 7th inning. And it's Luis Avilan on for the 8th time.
He worked a third of an inning last night. This will be his 4th appearance of the homestand.
Sets up a lefty-lefty matchup with Brett Wallace, the Houston first baseman, who's 2 for 3 today. 2 singles, 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 6th. That's a good start. 0-1.
Good pitch to start off with right there. Runners in scoring position, new pitcher. As a hitter, you're figuring you're going to see fastball to kind of get your feet under you and start them off with a slow hook.
Now it's 0-2.
That was a 95 fastball.
Good velocity, and Wallace fouled it straight back.
This guy's gaining more and more responsibility. He was in a tough spot last night in the 8th inning.
Swing and a miss. Wallace is done. So is Houston. And we head to the 7th inning stretch. 4-1. Atlanta leads it. Good work by Luis Avilan. Come up for the bottom of the 7th inning. Paul Yanis with a very big hit for Atlanta has extended the lead to 4-1 Braves.
Some good work there by the offense in the 6th inning. Putting 4 hits together, getting a wild pitch, and then the big hit from Yanis. Something they had been missing in this series. So good inning to do it.
Xavier Cedeno is the new Houston pitcher. And he is just now beginning his warm-up tosses after another great rendition of God Bless America by Timothy Miller. It quite literally brought down the house.
Sounded like it.
Fan down, fan down.
So while the Braves are winning today, the Nationals are also winning. Their score 4-1. They're beating up on the Marlins. Atlanta with a win today would wrap up an 8-2 homestand. That's the great news. The frustrating part is Braves haven't made up any ground, and they've lost 10 days off the calendar in the Eastern Division race, that is.
Well, we've been saying all along, you just can't expect Washington to go into any extended losing streaks because of their solid starting pitching. And now they've got 6 guys to call on if needed, the way John Lannon's pitched for them. Curious thing is that John Lannon isn't doing much for Syracuse. He's getting beat up in AAA, and he comes to the big leagues, and he beats the Braves, he beats the Marlins, and pitches real well.
And today was supposed to be Steven Strasburg's start for Washington. Mickey Nolasco was pitching for Miami today. And the Nationals will make their way down to Texas. We'll make our way up to Philadelphia and start a series beginning tomorrow night. Ours will be a 3-game set with the Phillies. Washington plays 4 against Houston at Minute Maid Park. So let's see if Atlanta can add to the lead. 4-1. Michael Bourne will lead it off. Michael's 0 for 3 today.
We've talked a lot about the struggles of this Houston team all year long, and especially on the road. But you know what? At home, they're 25-27. So let's hope that series is kind to them against the Nationals.
Cedeno's out of Puerto Rico. Originally a 31st round pick of the Colorado Rockies back in 2004. Did not pitch at all in 2010. Then Houston signed him, and he made his way to the big leagues for the first time and pitched in 3 games last season. And he strikes out Michael, who's 0 for 4 today. Astros have had his number this year.
Yeah, they'll have to hit the restart button when the Braves get to Philadelphia.
President of Martine's fan club right below us. Frankly, she's the president of a lot of Braves fan clubs.
Yes, she is. She's one of the ushers, and she roots for all the guys.
Balls, no strikes. Martine walks on 4 pitches. Second time he's walked today. And here's Jason. Ben Sheets and Vance Worley tomorrow night. Mike Minor, Cole Hamels on Tuesday. Tim Hudson and a pitcher to be named for the Phillies on Wednesday night. Ball, no strikes.
Dropped down a little bit. Tried to get Jason to flinch a little and give up on it, and then made a perfect spot, a perfect pitch location-wise to that spot on the low outside corner. You know, there's been a lot of strikeouts today. The Braves have recorded 8, and the Astros have recorded 8, and yet it seems like the pitchers really haven't taken advantage of James Hoy's strike zone as much as they could have.
It seemed like they were a little bit early on, but then it's kind of tailed off in the middle portions of the game.
Seems to me like he was calling the high strike early in the game, and no one wants to go up in the zone. The game tied 1-1 or 1.1 nothing Atlanta.
Especially late in the game when you might be tiring a little bit.
Slow roller out towards short. The Astros will get the force. And Hayward keeps the inning alive. He stands at first base for Chipper.
Jason knew he had to really haul it down the line because of the proximity to the bag and how quickly they might get rid of it. Good hustle.
Three-hit series for Chipper. He scored 20 runs in his last 33 games, including one in the 6th inning today. Came home on a wild pitch, which broke a 1-1 tie.
I'd like to see Jason just hang out there at first base now with 2 out and let Chipper hit. If he steals second, they'll probably walk Chipper and then bring up another left-handed hitter. And these are the kinds of pitchers, these middle relievers or secondary relievers, that Chipper just eats alive typically.
Chipper doesn't even bother to look back.
Oh. Well, maybe not as bad as it looked from up here. I think Corcoran made it look. Chipper earns a lot of respect from the umpires because he rarely says anything, if ever. He just kind of turns his head and walks out of the box. So getting that kind of reaction, James Hoy probably noticed and second-guessed himself a little bit.
But if Fox Tracks is right, it did catch the strike zone. Maybe it
sure looked bad from up here, didn't it?
Yeah. We all saw the same thing. The catcher, that big movement behind the plate.
Yeah, that one wasn't exactly framed.
No. 1-2 pitch won't be made. If I was Cedeno, I wouldn't want to throw it either. Not as locked in as Chipper is. Extra base hit down the left field line. Hayward around second, on his way to third. He'll be waved home. Another hit. Another RBI for Chipper Jones. It's 5-1.
Tim Hudson was asked the other night about Chipper's big hit, the double that drove in a couple of runs for him, and he said, you know, he's not even human, but he's one hell of a baseball player. And this is what I'm talking about. These types of pitchers, Chipper's just on them. They got no shot. And once again, Jason Hayward scores from first on a double.
And easily. You know, I mean, it's you're used to seeing guys score that easily with 2 outs and a double in the gap, and or maybe in the opposite field down the line. But scoring from first on a double down the left field line, yeah, with 2 outs, you think you got a good shot, but he's scoring without even making a throw.
And guys, too, for a day that began with us talking about the economy of pitches for Chris Medlin, how about the economy of strides for Jason Hayward, the way he cut the bags? That is such an underappreciated skill, is it not?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Chip. There is something to be said about that in terms of being fast and not being a real good base runner. He's both, because he knows how to cut the corners and go into the bag.
I was going to say, a lot of times people misconstrue a guy being a good base runner simply because he's fast. That was a good example, like you say, of cutting the bases right, not losing any stride, not taking any extra or causing yourself any extra landscape because you're taking a big turn. I mean, that was, to use the pitching term we've been using, those were economical use of your steps around the bases there.
Chipper, a 2-hit day, knocks in his 48th run. Freeman hits behind in the count and backs away. And to you guys' point about being fast versus efficient, Larry Walker's a guy that always came to mind with regards to that. Larry was a fast runner, but you wouldn't think of him, I guess, Tommy, as a blazer.
No, but he was a good base runner.
One of the things, when you round third base, the deeper you go into foul territory, the worse it is. You need to cut the bag as close to the bag and stay close to the dirt as you can. Jason may have gone a couple of strides into the grass, but not more.
Yeah, a lot of guys you see make that turn, and they're in the coach's box.
Yeah.
A beautiful job for Jason. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Wallace handles and flips to the pitcher covering, and that will retire the side. Cedeno tried to put the 4 corners on Chipper Jones, but it didn't work. He doubles down the left field line. It scores Jason Hayward, and the Braves lead by 4. didn't lead the ball game by a 5-1 score after 7 innings of play. This was a nip and tuck affair early. Atlanta led 1-0 on a David Ross home run that came in the 2nd inning. Chris Medlin made that stand up until Houston tied it in the 6th inning at 1. Braves, though, got 3 in their half of the 6th, 1 in the 7th. The last run scoring on a Chipper Jones double that brought home that man, Jason Hayward.
Yeah, let's tip our cap too to the bullpen in the 6th inning. After the Astros had tied it up, they had runners at 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. Johnny Venters came in, got a strikeout, intentional walk, and a ground out to get out of that inning. It's good work there.
A line drive by Justin Maxwell. Enough already.
Silver Hammer, go home.
And in the interest of fairness, he'd better do the same thing to the Nationals.
Yeah. Line to right first time up.
So here's Matt Downs. He struck out in the 6th inning. And Joe, to your point about bullpen work, it has been terrific. Braves bullpen's given up 1 earned run on the homestand. That's the good news. Bad news is they've had to work a lot on this homestand.
They have.
And the next off day is Thursday.
That's what was good about Hudson pitching into the 8th 2 nights ago.
Fly ball to center. The wind blowing straight in. That makes it an easier play for Michael Bourne. 1 on, 1 out. Coming up on Braves Live, presented by AT&T. We'll hear from Braves manager Freddie Gonzalez. We'll get sound from the locker room, and we will have all of today's highlights. Steve Pearce has walked twice and has an infield hit. All the work out of the bullpen, as we've showed you on the homestand. Remember, Avilan was a starting pitcher in the minor leagues. Fellas, ideally, would you think the Braves would like to see him finish this one off today?
Well, they probably would, yeah. I mean, I think the more you can save O'Flaherty and Kimbrel in non-save type games, yeah. But Avilan's been fairly busy here of late, too.
2 balls and a strike.
If you could get a double play ball here and get out of this inning quickly, he might get the opportunity, but you see O'Flaherty getting loose. And I mentioned that Hudson went 7 1/3 into the 8th inning 2 nights ago. Paul Mahalam, even though it was a loss, pitched 7 innings last night, and that helped.
Popped up. And Ugla on the right side will make the catch for the 2nd out. And there might be some more help approaching on the horizon. Peter Moylan's made the jump up to AAA. I don't have his line handy, but I think the reports were pretty good for Peter Moylan's rehab start.
Two nights ago, he worked an inning, gave up 3 hits and a run, but no walks and 2 strikeouts. So that was his first outing, and it was against Durham. A game that Miguel Batista started and went 5 innings of 3 hit shutout ball and struck out 5.
So another arm that's certainly has to be considered for the Braves. Batista has a ton of major league experience in just about every role you can have. That's outside to J.D. Martinez. 2 balls, no strikes. Martinez came on in the 6th inning as a pinch hitter. Houston had the bases loaded, 2 outs. He swung at the first pitch, grounded out, and that ended the Astros' 6th inning threat. For what little we've seen of Martinez, I like this guy's game. I think he's got a chance to be a pretty good hitter. But not this time. He's going to roll out to second. And the side is retired. Avilan has little trouble in the 8th inning. Braves enjoy a 5-1 lead at home.
Play of the game. David Ross involved in a lot of stuff going on today in the game, but how about this? Strike him out, throw him out, double play that he and Chris Medlin teamed up on in the 4th inning. Great throw and a no chance swipe on that one for Brett Wallace. Nice play for David. He's also got a homer today.
And the Braves will now feast their eyes on Reiner Cruz. Dan Uggla, David Ross, and Paul Janisch coming up. No balls, 2 strikes. Marlins are up for their final at bat in the 9th inning in Washington. 4-1 Nationals lead. Here it's 5-1 Braves, last of the 8th. Ground ball to short. And Gonzalez almost took too much time. Uggla's retired for the first out. He's 0 for 4 today.
We were talking about some of the guys that were pitching in the minor leagues, and Batista and Peter Moylan and other guys, but a couple of guys that are doing really good work at Mississippi that I was just looking at their game last night. They won 8-7. Joe Leonard hit 2 more homers. He's got 9 now. And the center fielder Todd Cunningham at Mississippi's having a great year. Went 3 for 6 with a double and an RBI last night, and he's hitting .323 in the Southern League. That's good work.
Yeah, Todd was a second-round pick in 2010 by the Braves. It's always fun to look down at the single-A, double-A levels and look into your crystal ball and project where guys might fit into your organization down the road.
There's another guy at Rome who may win the Triple Crown for the Rome team, William Beckwith. He's leading the team in hitting, homers, and RBIs. 307, 13 homers, 65 RBIs. I believe he's a first baseman.
High pop-up out of play, foul by David Ross. And as much has been made of Frank Wren holding on to the prized pitching prospects for this Braves club, Joe, there's a lot of offensive talent too that's in the pipeline, like Jason Hayward and Freddie Freeman. Name that pops to mind immediately is Christian Betancourt, the catching prospect.
Nick Ahmed, a couple of others.
Missed inside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. And 2. Good day all around for David Ross. He reaches for the 3rd time.
That was a good at bat there.
And Paul Janisch, the batter. Paul Janisch had the biggest bat of the day for the Braves, I think. 2-run scoring hit in the 6th after Chipper scored on a wild pitch. Broke the game open, made it a 4-1 score. High fly ball left center. Maxwell is over and makes the catch. And that's the 2nd out. pinch hit appearance for Juan Francisco in the 8th inning.
This Houston team in the last 10 days or so have had a lot of tight games. They lost to Pittsburgh 5-3. They lost 6-5 to the Pirates. They lost 4-3 to the Pirates. Then they beat Pittsburgh. Then they lost to Milwaukee 8-7. And then they got blown out a couple of games by Milwaukee. And then lost to the Braves 4-1. Won last night, and they were in today's game till the 6th or 7th inning. So it's, aside from a couple of games in Milwaukee, at least in recent days, it's not like they're just getting hammered every night.
Well, remember, they were, what, a game under 500, 40 some odd games into the season this year before the bottom fell out. But it's one thing to know you can play with an opponent. It's another thing to know you can beat an opponent.
Barry Switzer had a great line, I thought, in the old days at Oklahoma when teams would come to Norman and they would give OU fits, let's say, for the first quarter. He said, you know, anybody can play with anybody for a quarter just on adrenaline alone and getting fired up. After that, talent takes over. And whoever has the best talent is going to win out. And I always believe that. And the same thing applies, I think, in other sports, too, that you start a ball game and there's an intensity at the beginning, but you've got to carry it through for 9 innings in baseball.
And every day for 6 months.
Right.
And with or without the trades that have been made by the Astros the last couple of years, they haven't been able to do that this year. That's going to be the real challenge as Francisco walks with 2 out. Number one, building up their farm system, which really was neglected in the last years of Greg McLean's ownership. But number two, until that works, recruiting, Tommy, free agents to come and play for this club, which quite frankly isn't going to be going anywhere for a couple of years, especially with their move to the rough and tumble AL West next season.
Yeah, I mean, they got a lot of things working against them, so they've got an uphill climb, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, I know there was a note. They had a note Friday night, I think it was, in their notes, and I forget the exact number, but to Joe's point, their large majority of their losses, especially recently, have been 2 runs or less. They've been in games, and that's kind of the first part of the process for a young team. Is you want to start to get the feeling that on a nightly basis you can go out there and you can compete. That's step one. Well, step two is, okay, well, now we've got to compete not only for 6 innings, we got to compete for 9 innings, and then we got to figure out how do we start winning some of these games. And that's the hard part. And until they get the right pieces in place, whether it be closers or middle relief guys or guys that can get key base hits for them, it's going to be tough to get over that hump and start winning those games.
And to your point, Tom, the Astros have played 52 games this year that have been decided by 2 runs or less. They're 19-33 in those affairs.
You got to, as Tommy said, you got to learn how to win those games. It doesn't just happen. You have to have the mindset and be strong-willed to finish games.
I guess it may sound funny, but I would imagine that the Astros, where they are, may remind you a bit of where the Braves were when you first started coming up and pitching in the major leagues consistently.
Absolutely. I mean, we went through 3 straight seasons of losing 100 games, but by the end of the 3rd season, it was a little bit more competitive 100-loss season than it was the previous years.
There's a shot off the bat of Michael Bourne, and it's going to get down for a hit. Streaking around third is Ross. The throw, a long dart from Pierce. And David scores standing up. And Michael Bourne breaks through with a hit in this series against the Astros, and that extends the Atlanta lead to 6-1.
Well, he's the guy, Michael Bourne's the guy that all year long has talked about when the Braves battle back and win games late, come from behind. He has said repeatedly, that's our mindset. We have the type of team and we have confidence in the dugout to know that we can come back on anybody no matter what the deficit. So again, that goes to not rolling over late in the ball game knowing we got no chance to come back. The Braves mindset is completely different.
Yeah, the Braves mindset is in the 6th inning, okay, how are we going to win this game? Right now the Astros mindset is, all right, how are we going to lose this one today? You know, and that's a hard thing to get over, but you know, again, over time, when you put yourself in those situations more and more, and then you start to win some, then you start to have that confidence that you can do it.
Ground ball out towards second. Altuve will flip to short, and that will retire the side.
Well, the new GM, Jeff Luhnow, came from the Cardinals. They built from the ground up. He will too.
Very, very successful homestand for Atlanta. And let's enjoy our Academy Sports and Outdoor leaderboard. When the Braves lead late, book a W, folks.
But it's close to automatic. Well, I guess it is automatic. 55-0. Yeah, sorry. I was thinking there was one other stat. I think they've, what, one loss after 7 innings? Yeah.
How about the Padres 39-0? They're doing something right, too, at the end of the ball game.
Pittsburgh as well. We've already seen their bullpen this year, and we'll face the Pirates the final 3 games of regular season play as Christian Martinez takes over for inning number 9 today. And he'll have the bottom part of the Houston order coming up. Washington did win today. They took care of the Marlins. That's a 4-1 final. So no blood today. If the Braves can finish things off, we'll start play tomorrow. 3 back in the East.
Did Reyes get a hit? Do we know?
He did.
He did.
Yep, 24 and counting for him. A career high hit streak. A strike from Christian to Carlos Corporan.
My point is we were going away about Jeff Luhnow, the GM, and the Cardinal relationship there coming from St. Louis. St. Louis has always had an outstanding farm system. Draft and develop, and it may take a while, but you'll be able to see the Astros follow that same script.
And while I'm sure their fans were and have been upset over the players that they've traded, they've acquired some quality and a lot of quantity to try to rebuild their farm system. Again, in 2007, didn't sign any of their first-round picks, and 3 of their top choices also didn't sign in the draft. And you may be seeing the ripple effect of that this season, 5 years later. Nobody from that draft class is playing for this Houston club. Martinez off to a good start, takes care of the catcher. 1 away in the 9th.
I guess you have to decide when you're making those trades. Are you know, where are your chances better of rebuilding your system and actually getting some players that are going to help you at the big league level, or by getting one top 5 prospect in a trade or 3 guys in a trade that maybe are in the top 20. You know, where's the likelihood that you're going to get more major league players out of? You know, I don't know. I know you're always enamored with trying to get a club's #1 prospect, but
well, how many times have you seen a guy drafted #1 and doesn't make it, and you have a 22nd or a 30th or a 5th round pick who turns into an all-star?
They had those type players last year when they traded Hunter Pence and traded Michael Bourne. Those were the guys that you could get upper echelon prospects for. The guys they traded this year were more of the ilk of, okay, let's get 3 or 4 of their top 20 and not necessarily gun for the top prospects in an organization. And I don't mean any disrespect to the guys they traded, but they were not Pence and Bourne.
Yeah, I don't have the book in front of me, but I believe 6 of the top 7 prospects listed by Baseball America as Francisco's retirement strikes. 6 of their top 7 prospects came from other organizations in those deals you were talking about. And they're all still a year or 2 away. But I credit them. I mean, I think it's, well, I think the Astros are doing what it's taken the Cubs 100 years to do, quite frankly, and that's start over, build the foundation, and hopefully build it back up. Well, we'll see if it works.
Just about every organization at some point in time has had to start over, you know, and obviously for some it's a little bit easier to do that with being able to sign free agents, but sooner or later every club finds himself in a situation where they're having to restock their minor league system.
Strike to Altuve.
Yeah, and it's not just the teams that you think of in terms of being in the lower divisions of baseball, but periodically, I mean, whether it was the Braves when you were first coming up, Tommy, or the Yankees. Ask Bobby Cox about the Yankees after the Mickey Mantle and Yogi Berra era. They went through some horrible seasons.
Texas, Oakland,
yeah,
Seattle. I mean, you're right. It's part of the cycle of the game. Up and into Altuve.
That's not what he needed here in the 9th inning. Down by 5. He started this series. Pearson would like for him to end it.
Ground ball to Chipper. He'll handle it third, and the Braves have beaten the Astros for the final time as a National League team. Braves take 2 out of 3 in the series. They win today 6-1. Terrific effort from David Ross. Chipper Jones had a big hit too. And the Braves wrap up an 8-2 homestand. And a win 2 out of 3 again against the Astros. Back with more from the TED right after this.